Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 Truth to Sports coming to you with another segment. Hopefully, you're having a good day or a good night. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. I titled this one East Carolina Needs to Fight to Get into the ACC. So, let me get right into it. For those of you who care about the ACC, most of you have heard that Florida State and Clemson looks like they may be leaving the ACC for a different conference. And then today I read that Miami and Louisville may be doing the same thing. So that's four ACC schools, I think out of 18, if I'm not mistaken. So that may be leaving. There may be more to come, etc. But um, so East Carolina, we've missed the last couple of major alignments. Meaning when some of the major conferences made moves, we wasn't one of those schools that were in those alignments for that. Now, right now, East Carolina is in the American Conference, and the conference is a good conference. I'm not talking like East Carolina is just going to come in and dominate that conference, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be hard to do. I think they should have a good season because this is the easiest schedule they've ever had at East Carolina. This is the first time there are no Power Five schools on the schedule. I don't even think we're playing an ACC4 this year. So it's an easy schedule. Maybe we need that to help us bounce back, but it's not really about that right now. So it's no disrespect to the American Conference, and we're nobody to be shunning a conference. But they do have Florida Atlantic, which is going to probably be good. I'm sure they're going to be good in football. I know they're going to be good in basketball. Memphis, which of course is going to be good in basketball and probably football. Tulane have very good programs in both sports, and UCF have good programs in both sports. Very competitive for us, no question. But we've been sitting outside the ACC for too long. With 53, so my whole life. We've never been in the ACC. We've been mentioned a couple of times, but it's never happened. But here's some of the reasons I think and know it's time to let us in, and why I think as an organization or as a school that we need to fight to get into the ACC. Now, proximity. Proximity is very important. We're only a couple of hours away as far as bus trips from most of the core ACC schools. Duke is close. We can, that's a bus trip. NC State is a bus trip. Carolina is a bus trip. Wake Forest is a bus trip. Virginia is a bus trip. Virginia Tech is a bus trip. So proximity wise, we fit right in. We're in Greenville, North Carolina, so we're not far from any of those schools, and we are in state. So that's important. Another reason is just being offended. I'm actually offended that a West Coast school, California, was asked, and then you have SMU, who's located in Dallas, I believe. Those schools were asked to be in the California, really, because they're the West Coast. The West Coast was asked to be in an Atlantic Coast school. Not school, in Atlantic Coast Conference. The ACC stands for the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they went way out west to get a team, and we're right here in state. Now I'm gonna give another reason why our baseball team has been nationally ranked for years. I think they're the third or fourth win in this program in the last some odd years with 200 some odd wins. They're always in the tournament, and a lot of times East Carolina hosts the tournament. So baseball, and we also got a couple of pros that went into the MLB draft and got drafted this year. Our baseball team is legit. Women's softball went 38-19 last year, and so that's very good. The women's basketball, since they've had head coach Kim McNeil, actually her and her husband, she's the head coach. Her husband was one of the assistants. Her husband now was working as an assistant at Carolina, so they're legit coaches. But since Kim McNeil has had the women's basketball team, 2023 they went 19-14, 2022 23-10. They made the NCAA tournament in 2023, I believe it was. 2022, they played in the conference championship. 2021, they played in the conference championship. So they're only going to get bigger and better with time and more recruiting, which is why the ACC is very important. Let's get into men's basketball. I know you can say, well, men's basketball haven't really had good seasons. First of all, you're correct in that, and that's the reason why I think the ACC will help that. Men's basketball will only get better with the prestige of the ACC. That would definitely help in our recruiting. And we've had very good caliber players that's played at East Carolina. That if they would have stayed and maybe a couple more, one or two more good recruiting classes, we would have been fighting for the top of the conference. But we always lose those guys. The first mistake I think we did, we lost Joe Dooley. Joe Dooley was the head coach a couple of different times at East Carolina. He was an assistant when I played there. Now since he's left, he's went on to win national championships with Kansas. And personally, I can tell you from behind the scenes, nobody wanted Joe Dooley to leave. We knew he would be good for East Carolina. The problem with East Carolina is when they get a good basketball coach, they don't understand it's going to take years to get something going down there because it's not because we're not in bed more to say with a top conferences. It's kind of hard to compete against NC State, North Carolina, Wake Forest, and all these ACC schools. So that's what we needed. But Joe Dooley's gone, but I think we should have kept him. But he went on to win without us. Then we lost Trenton Newton. You should know who that is. He's won two. He was with us. Very good player with East Carolina. He transfers to UConn, wins two NCAA championships. He just got drafted by the Pacers. 2024, he's a first-team All-American. 2024, Bob Cousy Award winner. 2024, Wooden Award finalist. 2024, unanimous first-team All-Big East. 2024, Associated Press Big East Player of the Year. 2024, National Final Four Most Outstanding Player. And there's more and more that I can name, but that's the type of player that we had at Carolina that was running our offense for us. But we lost him for different things. And he was also a 2,000-point scorer, I think, at UConn. So we lost him. We also lost a power forward this past year. One of our leading scorers, I think he was number 4. He was averaging 11 points for us, 6 or 7 rebounds. I don't like to mispronounce his name, Eza. Last name is Ausar. He transferred to a major conference. He's going to Utah. Good for him. He's a very good player. We also lost a guy named Brandon Johnson from the same team. We just lost him to the ACC. He's going to Miami. He averaged 14 points, 8 rebounds for East Carolina. They were on the same team. We also, a couple of years ago, we lost a guy named Jaden Gardner. He went to Virginia. He was an all-ACC caliber player. He plays in Belgium now, so he's a professional. But he was at East Carolina, too. We lost him. So we can get players there. We just get them 1 and 2 at a time, and then it's hard for us to build around them. We also have a guy that came back for his senior year, Felton, which is Raymond Felton, who played at Carolina. It's his cousin, if I'm not mistaken. He came back. He was about to go into the NBA. I guess he didn't hear what he needed to hear, so he came back. But I kind of feel for him because his other 2 productive scorers have left to bigger schools. So that's why the ACC can be very important for us to have that ACC stamp on our program, ACC stamp on that court, and Mendes Coliseum would definitely help us recruit. Even if we have to do secondary recruiting. What is secondary recruiting? Well, you can recruit a kid out of high school knowing you're not going to get him, but he wants to go to the ACC, and you tell him, listen, if you don't play your first or second year, give us a call. You come down here and you'll play, and that's just how you have to recruit now with the transfer portal. So that's one thing, it'll help basketball. And let's get right into football. Now, football can definitely play with the ACC. We went in 2022. We went 8-5. We lost to NC State by 1 at the beginning of the season from a late field goal miss, and that would have set our season off. But excuse me. But we ended up being 8-5. But my point is, we can play with ACC. Most of the ACC schools, if not all of them. 2021 went 75. We went 75. But it is what it is. We did have a great coach. I thought we should have kept Ruffin McNeil. So we've had very good coaches. I can name some more coaches. I actually like the coaches at East Carolina right now, to be honest with you. Now, in all, we do have 21 bowl games. We are 10-11 in bowl games, so we're almost 500 in bowl games, and we do go to bowl games. We just had a couple of down seasons. We have been ranked 5 times in the national polls in 76, 83, 91, 99, and 2008. But in all, we've stayed in 28 polls, meaning, you stay in them consecutive weeks before you fall out of them or before the season's over. The highest that we've ever been ranked, which was in 1991, we was ranked number 9. We was led by Jeff Blake, who went on to play pro ball. We had a couple of guys that played pro ball for East Carolina. I actually did a segment on that, so you can kind of scroll through and find that. And the fans, our fans will show. We sell out all the baseball games, which is a big deal. You've ever been to a baseball game? It gets crazy. I'm talking about regular season. I'm not even talking about when the tournament hits. We sell out most of our football stadium, even in down years. But we're known for our tailgating because we support the team, whether they're up and down. But I will tell you this: when it's a good team, that place is packed. It is loud. A lot of times, everything's set up so well as far as the game is sold out. The tailgating is so fun. You end up staying outside and watching the game on the big screen TV with some other fans. Basketball does very well with attendance. Menzies Maniacs, I think it is, a very good crowd. Went to the Houston game last year, sold out, could barely get a spot. So they will show up to the games. The women games are up and down on all levels. I like women's basketball, but you all know what I mean by that. The fans, East Carolina fans, will support and they will travel, especially with most of the local games being in state. We're going to bring a crowd to that game, and when we put out a very good product on that football field and on the basketball courts, those crowds will swell, especially for football. So, in education-wise, we do have a medical school, we have engineering, we have business, we have education, very good healthcare, and very good nursing school, and good programs. So we can deal with the education part of it. You can come down and get your good education. So the prestige of the ACC will only enhance East Carolina. We can't keep sitting around and waiting and they be picked. We need to call meetings, take a loan out, buy our way out of our contracts where we are now, and we need to get into the ACC. That's just what needs to happen. It's 2024. We've been sitting around long enough being nice about it. Now we need to kind of fight for it, go through legislation, whatever it is we have to do to try to get our school in that conference. And if you go to East Carolina now, one thing they will do, the money is well spent because it's constantly new buildings, 2 new student centers going on down there. It's a beautiful campus. So it would only enhance us, and then we will enhance them. And I just named the sports and how we can enhance them. Right away, East Carolina could win that conference as far as baseball, and everything else would be coming up behind that, with the ACC prestige behind it. That's just what it is. And those are my thoughts on it. With these schools leaving the ACC, it's time for East Carolina to be not only considered, but it's time to open the door and let us in. So let's hope and pray that happens. I'll be a proud Pirate for us to hopefully get into the ACC this year. We have to take care of business in our conference the best we can, but it's not about the win, the losses right now. It's about getting us into the ACC. So it's been Hunt 919, Truth to Sports. Ride with me.